Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to installment number 2, or part 2, of the Red Shadow's favorite TV shows, X-Files. I did want to show something really quick that I went and found in between here, and this is that book I mentioned before, The Nitpicker's Guide for the X-Files. And this is all episodes for the first 4 seasons, which is cool to a certain extent because, in my opinion, the first 5 seasons were probably the best, and seasons 6 and 7 were a little behind that. I'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but this covers quite a bit of the best and probably some of my favorite episodes. I don't know if they finished off the series or not. I'll have to look into that. If they did, I definitely want to pick that up. But there's another really awesome addition to my collection, The X-Files. Alright, so we're going to try to plow through the last of what I wanted to show before I start talking about the series itself. I'm going to show a few things here that go in my complete collector's edition before I actually lay that one out for everybody. But we've got some more cards. And these are in like a little, it's like a little slip piece here over a bunch of cards. I don't really want to take these out. I'm really anal about keeping this stuff together the way that it is. So I'm going to keep that like that. Also included in this was an actual little X-Files comic book. I don't recall anything about the story in this. I probably have to take a look at it. It says Scully and Mulder confront a killer computer program in one player only. Okay. Looks like we've got a poster here. Yeah, it's a Fight the Future poster. I'm not going to unfold it. Like I said, just want to keep everything as neat and pristine as I can. And then, of course, here's just an advertisement that came with the box set. Now, the box set had a nice little book here, the X-Files Complete Collector's Edition, Seasons 1 through 9, and X-Files Fight the Future. And this book is basically a breakdown of each season. Like, for example, here's the page that begins Season 5. And then as you turn the page, you see a breakdown of all the episodes and little pictures and little descriptions for them. Near the end of the book, including on the last page, there's an episode release list. It's the broadcast order, the episode number, the title, and the air date. I mean, it's about all the information you could ever imagine for this series. This is about to go back inside the box because I've had this out for the last several years. It's starting to show a little bit of that kind of wear that it gets from being exposed. And I'll show you here where this is going to go as soon as I show you the Mac Daddy of the collection. Excuse me, and I hope the lighting is going to show this off really well because this box is phenomenal. That's the front of the box. This is the complete collector's edition of the series. It's all DVD because there is no Blu-ray release for the series yet. I hope that they decide to do it because of all the old shows that are getting conversions. But there's the front of it. There's one end, the aliens. Here's the submarine submerged in the ice. Here's the back. I don't know why they put these little slip covers on these kind of boxes with very minimal amounts of glue. Like, I like this being on here despite the fact that there's definitely something underneath there. I want this to stay. There's the bottom of the box, which I don't think there's much to it, and then there's the top of the box. But the awesomeness of this box set is how this thing opens up. There's another picture, and then deep down inside of this is every season of the show in its own little booklet. I don't know how else to explain it. Now that you've kind of seen this, I'm going to put this down so I don't pitch it onto the floor and dump the contents everywhere. Each season, Season 1, has its own little booklet. You open it up, there's another list of the episodes, and then in each page is the disc for that particular season. I'm always constantly worried about these things getting getting the least bit hurt and destroyed. So here's season 2. Same kind of concept here, with the episodes and the discs. On the back of each one are some of the famous little lines from the beginnings of the episodes. Something else I'll talk about here in a little bit, but deny everything. And it goes through and it has every single one of the 9 seasons, and then it also includes Fight the Future, the movie. Inside here you got the disc. Behind that is the disc for the Complete Collector's Edition special features, which I don't have a listing showing right there of what all is on that, but believe me when I say this set has got everything you could ever freaking imagine for the X-Files show. All the special features that were ever released on any of the seasons are included in this. Also, somewhere in here, I think maybe it is in that that extra disc, is like all the special features that were released in some additional DVDs that were released over the years. Special features that about the black oil aliens, about the super soldiers, and etc., etc. It's about everything that you can imagine other than the releases that came afterwards, like the second movie and whatnot. So there's that. So we're going to jump really quick to this. This is, I showed this on a pickups video, but this is the Fight the Future and I Want to Believe movies on Blu-ray in a box set. They're in this direction. There's I Want to Believe. There's Fight the Future with all their special features. Then this was my Ultimate X-File Edition DVD copy of Fight the Future. I didn't have the Blu-ray thing going on when this movie came out, so I bought the DVD. There's no way in the world I'm going to part with them. Hell, if I still have VHSs, I'm not going to get rid of my DVDs as I transition over to Blu-ray. At the time that came out, to kind of catch people up to speed or to bring in the new people, they released what was called the Essential Guide to the X-Files movie, also called X-Files Revelations. And what this was an 8 episodes of the show to kind of get people, to get their feet wet in the X-Files series so they could see the new movie. And then you have introductions to all 8 episodes by series creator Chris Carter, who is like a god to me, executive producer Frank Spotnitz, who's awesome, WonderCon talent panel featuring David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, Chris Carter, and Frank Spotnitz, and of course the theatrical trailer for the movie. Open this up and see. Well, yeah, it shows which episodes they are, but I'd rather talk more about episodes when I get into the thick of the actual set itself. Let's move some stuff around here, because I think we have finally gotten down to the last thing I wanted to show off. And this will make more sense once you know a little bit more about the show. But this is the one and only season of the spin-off that they did that was called The Lone Gunmen. Based around the Lone Gunmen here, Langley, Frohicke, and Byers. It was short-lived. Like I said, it was only one season. It was like the 13 or 14 episodes that these mid-season replacements usually get. But it was fun. It had a lot of the comedy that these guys brought to the show, and a lot of like espionage-style stuff that you didn't get as much in the show itself, which was more about the alien mystery and the Monster of the Week episodes. So, now that I've gotten through all that, it is time to start talking about the show itself. And I'm going to start off with an explanation of how I got into the series and maybe just a tiny smidge of the history of the series. The series debuted in, I believe it was 1993, and it ran until 2002. Sounds like it should be about right, since it was 9 seasons. Yeah, I believe that's what it was. Sorry for the brain fart there, but series started in 1993, so I was graduated from high school, and I was around my first or maybe the beginning of the second year of college. Had absolutely no idea what the show was. Knew nothing about it. Didn't watch any episodes of it, in the beginning. Eventually, I would come to be introduced to it, probably on a TV guide cover. But but just wasn't my thing. I just wasn't into it. There was no hook for me to bring it into. I'm not a UFO nut. Like, I'm open-minded to the possibility that UFOs and alien civilizations and life forms could exist out there, but I'm also kind of one of those I'll believe it when I see it type guys. So I enjoy the ideas behind it and the mystery and stuff, but I'm not a MUFON type guy. I'm not somebody who looks up stuff about it. I don't live that life. That's just not my thing. That's not what drew me to the X-Files. So there was no reason for me to be hooked by the idea that this was a show about UFOs and alien cover-ups and government conspiracies and all that. It really took me seeing an episode or two, just seeing the dynamic between Mulder and Scully, and just how far down the rabbit hole that the show went. So it wasn't until 1998 that I actually saw my first episode. And my first episode was the season-ending episode of season number 5 that was called The End, which seems weird because that would suggest to a person that it was wrapping up. Well, part of that is because they wanted to wrap the series up. Chris Carter wanted to wrap the series up after season 5 and spin it off into a movie series and do maybe 3 or 4 movies or something like that. But Fox did not want to lose one of their most popular television shows ever when they were on top, when they were a juggernaut in the ratings and doing really well for them. So they convinced Chris Carter to continue the show, but he had conditions, the main condition being that he wanted to move from Vancouver, Canada, to LA and film the rest of the show in LA. I think that was a big turning point in the quality of the show. Not that it just necessarily went from, awesome to but it tapered off after that. And it probably did go a couple seasons longer than it should have. But anyway, going back to my introduction to the series, a friend of mine named John asked me in like April or May of 1998 if I would want to go to see the X-Files movie that was going to be in theaters that summer. And I said, well, John, I don't really know the show. I haven't really ever watched it. I'm not that familiar with it. I need to, if I'm going to think about doing this, I need to see if it's something I'd even be interested in. I'm a guy who will go to a movie just about on any occasion, but if it doesn't look good to me, if it doesn't draw me in, I'm still going to question it. Well, like I said, all I really needed to do was see that one episode, and I was intrigued. And then watching some reruns before the movie hit theaters enabled me to feel more comfortable going to the movie. I may not have seen more than just that one episode before I went to the movie, but I can tell you that the summer of 1998 was the summer of the X-Files for me. FX, a spin-off cable network from Fox, who was where X-Files aired, was airing X-Files episodes like every Monday through Friday in the evening time. So I watched a metric shit ton of X-Files and really got versed in it so that when the 6th season started, I could actually join in on the fun, so to speak, which I did. Hopefully I'm not getting my timelines mixed up, because I want to believe, haha, no pun intended, that I watched the 6th season of the X-Files after I moved here to Missouri in 1999. So I don't know, I could have some of my numbers messed up. I really feel like a bad fan, man, especially for the show that is like my favorite show of all time. But anyway, all I can tell you is, regardless of when the movie came out, regardless of how all that stuff works out, I got into at least season 6 and 7 pretty religiously, watching them as they aired, watching reruns everywhere that I could, buying the VHS tapes and watching the crap out of these episodes, and the video games. Just I was living, eating, breathing, sleeping, bleeding X-Files for a decade. Or, well, more than that, but it was really hardcore there for a while. And after the series ended, I felt bad because it was over with, and I didn't have much more beyond my VHSs and the couple games. The story on this X-Files box set over here is one that, I don't know, it's kind of good and bad memories. And I feel a little bit bad because it involves my ex-wife and how she, as well as her parents, had slowly but surely bought a few of the seasons for me individually. The year, I think, before this box set came out, and then when this box set came out, I had to have it, so I sold off all of my other seasons, and there were some people who had held that against me and felt kind of upset with me for doing that. I don't know. Maybe it was bad of me. I guess I feel a little guilty about it, but I had to have this. You can't be an X-Files fan of the caliber that I am. You can't. Okay, not necessarily the caliber of fan that I am. I'm not at the cons. I don't dress up like Mulder. But where this holds a special place in my heart, this is something I have to have. So I just may have went about it the wrong way, but what can I say? But once I had those seasons, and I watched through all 9 seasons with those original ones, and then after I bought this, I've probably watched through the series 2 or 3 more times in the last couple of years, and I was actually in the middle of watching it recently. I'll be talking more about that here in a little bit. But for a good 10 plus years, I've watched the episodes, loved the episodes, wrote about them and read about them online. Just steeped myself in this show like you wouldn't believe. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in the next video. I think I'm going to wrap this one up now, not really knowing where my time is. But I want to make it's going to be probably a briefer video. Talk a little bit about the show, and then a little bit about a special project that I have in mind. So I hope you'll stay tuned and come back for that one, and I'll see you then.